and Elbis Album Review Show.
Alright everyone, it's the Elbis and Elbis album review show. I'm joined here with Elvis.
Alright, pal.
Elvis, I just said Elbis, I meant.
Yeah.
And today it's another review of a world class album, or is it world class?
Well, we'll find out, but it's a special one today
thing of the show
because it's fan requested.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and it's a bloody pleasure to have a fan requesting
It
stuff.
is. We've actually got quite a few lined up.
Now I won't lie, it got a bit annoying because they kept going on about it and stuff.
Harassing us to get it done.
A few of the fans have been harassing us and that, and we just say get stuffed. We'll do it in our own time.
And
We've
to be
got
honest,
things to do.
it was my turn to pick an album this week anyway.
Yes, it was.
And we all know how that went.
Well,
now
I
would have probably picked this one anyway, so it was nice to get that request from a fan. So what we're saying is, if you are a fan, send us your requests by all means. What's the email address?
The Elbis and Elbis worldclassemail@gmail.com. Make sure you
we
send
might do them,
there.
we might not. It depends if we like them.
Well,
send
yeah,
them.
basically,
Send
yeah,
them.
absolutely.
So I'm quite excited about this because it is an album that I like, and it's an album that you haven't really heard.
Well, that's interesting, really. It's the first time on the Elbis and Elbis album review show that we're listening to an album that I haven't really listened to much.
It'll be good to get your fresh.
Yeah, this is my fresh reaction to it. Obviously, I know a couple of songs on this album.
As you all will, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, this is really my fresh reaction to the album. So it'd be interesting to get some views on it.
And the album in question is from 1987, I believe, and it's by Guns N' Roses, and it's called Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah.
Now, an interesting thing, I think, and I'm not sure, but it might be the first album I ever bought. It might be.
Well, obviously, I don't really know, but I mean, I think with Guns N' Roses, they're like all right in a way.
Well, yeah.
That's me review really at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't really know anything about the album.
Let's see if this changes your mind.
Some
Now,
of the
you
songs
might
on there
also
I like.
remember that you was very heavily critical of my narrative for The Strangler.
Well, yeah, because it was bloody ridiculous, to be honest. It was shambles.
And you came up with, I'll create a narrative for this, so let's see if you can. I stand firmly by my...
I'll give it a go.
My summary that you can, but if you can't, don't worry, because I have. So if you need me again...
Well, the thing is, you took bloody days upon days to make that ridiculous narrative that you did last week.
I did it pretty much straight
Now,
away.
I'm making a narrative here, which is fresh out my mind.
Yeah,
it's literally, I've just looked at the album and I've said, this is what's going to be.
All I'd say to the fans
mine is going to be more genius.
Don't expect a narrative at the end of this. Now then, are we going to start this album?
Well, it's up to you. You know the bloody album.
I do know the album, and I tell you what, well, we'll play the first song and then we'll discuss what sort of a start for the album it is.
Get it on, let's have a go.
It's called Welcome to the Jungle.
And I already know, good song. Well, that was Welcome to the Jungle. The start of the album also could be Welcome to the Album.
It really could, yeah. I mean, what a start to an album.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I think one thing we do agree upon is the importance of the first song on an album.
Yeah, I mean, we've always, every album review we've done, we've always established that the first song in an album should kick off.
It really should.
Kicks off a narrative as well.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to.
Well, it sort of does in a way, but I mean, listen, but with this, it kicks off the album.
I find that, like, if I think that song does tell you a lot about this album. It's like back in 1987, if you was in a car, and you had this on tape. Now that's the medium I saved up and bought it on. Right. It was about 88. I bought it. I think. Yeah. And if you had this, and there was somebody in the car, let's say your granddad or something, and he said to him, "Oh, have you heard this album?" And you put that song on, he would know by the end of that song, or even by the first 10 seconds of it, whether he'd like the rest of the album or not. And in my granddad's case, I can tell you from experience, he absolutely didn't like it. Yeah. Well. So that is the beauty of that song.
Well, this is probably at that time, though. I mean, not a lot of people had heard stuff like that, really.
Well, can't remember really. Well, the granddad said.
I don't know.
The Beatles was too forward thinking for my granddad. So
what did your granddad like? Like, bloody...
he liked I don't know. It was a song called Millie Dean. I don't know who sang it.
God, I've read of it.
Yeah, it wasn't much good.
But anyway, bloody Welcome to the Jungle. I mean,
Yeah.
if you haven't heard of Welcome to the Jungle, then you've probably been living under a rock for the entirety of your life.
Yeah.
But it's a bloody great song, and as I say, a perfect way to kick off an album, especially this rock and roll album.
I sometimes think if, like, I was a wrestler or a boxer, would the opening song of an album be good to walk out to? And I think that's
a walkout song, right?
Yeah,
It's a walkout song,
yeah,
definitely.
really
I mean,
good.
if anyone comes out to that, they mean business.
Now, the next song, I very much doubt you've ever heard it. If you haven't heard this album, because it is an album track.
Oh, I don't know. Might have done.
It's called It's So Easy. Have you heard that?
No.
Right, well, let's have a listen then, shall we?
Well, put it on then.
Go on then.
Well, that was It So Easy, and let's just say I apologise for any of the language you've just heard there. And that's just one of the things with this album. They do use the language of the inarticulates.
Profanity.
All the unarticulate, though. We're not sure.
However,
sure.
back in 1987/88, when I originally bought this album, I was a young, impetuous chap. It was slightly after. Do you remember my highly successful martial arts career, which I told you about?
Well,
it was kind of after that I'd finished and I'd retired from martial arts. I decided to become an extreme sportsman, and I got really into skateboarding. And we used to have this out on the street with a ghetto blaster and play this song. Now, at that age, my mother she takes a similar view on profanity to what I do.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
But as a young, stupid, impetuous young man, I used to quite enjoy it, and I figured out that around the house, so long as I was doing it in song, I could, actually get away with it.
Like swear and that.
Yeah. So,
well, anyway, it's not too bad then. But actually, one thing we forgot to do on the last song was obviously we have devised this system in which, it's like imagine like a car radio.
Yeah.
And like if a song come on, it's like, would you turn it up or would you keep it the same?
Or would you turn it off?
Or would you turn it off?
Yeah.
Or turn it down?
Now, for me, Welcome to the Jungle, that would be on max.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Without question. And also, to be honest, It's So Easy, that would also be on max for me. However, it wouldn't if I was driving up in a built-up suburban area with the windows down, because of the profanity, and I would have respect for the
Well, yeah, that's true. I'd like to think that people would have respect for their
it's an
surroundings
song
in a way.
In that respect, because I would turn it off in that situation.
Now, for the first time in these album review shows, I'm actually going to keep this the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the reason why is, now, I've got nothing against the song, other than its, let's just say, profanity.
Yeah.
But I think that when I was like growing up in that, right? So obviously I was a big wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And I used to play like the wrestling games and stuff.
Yeah.
Now in the main menus and that, they always used to have music like that, right? So it used to be like, like proper, like
because of that, because that was their
proper
first.
like rock and roll and that, and it's just noise to me. That,
well,
I mean, it's all right. Don't get me wrong.
It's almost like they've copied it.
Don't get me wrong, it's all right, but I don't think it's out special. It's just
I'm
noise.
I'm not going to slag you off
because
noise. It's about time you didn't give a song top marks.
To me, that's just noise.
You're not an objective.
The thing with like Billy Joel is the reason why I love that is because that ain't just noise. That's like a meaning with words that are proper like quality in that.
Yeah.
And this is just a bit like, get F off and that. And I just think,
well, we've already discussed now the fact I'm proper rock and roll and you're a
here we go. God, buddy.
So I'm not surprised that you would keep it the same.
Well,
but that's fair enough. I would either turn it up or turn it off, and I've never rated a song like that before.
It's only because I'm an expert music artist and I appreciate
kids in the suburban area that I would respect them. That's just what I am.
Well.
Anyway,
what's the next one?
The next song.
Oh yeah, listen along by the way.
Oh yeah, if you want.
If you want.
The next song is called Night Train. Now, what's interesting about this, and I'll tell you the actual facts behind the song and a little story if you want after we've listened to it.
Oh yeah.
However, I just enjoy the spelling of it because it's night train, but there's only one T in it.
So it's night train.
Night train, yeah, which I find is interesting because night train surely is two.
No, did they say night train? Is it night rain?
Yeah, night rain. Yeah. Brilliant, yeah. The Night Rain. Yeah, I've always called it Night Train, but it's not. It's Night Rain. So, your next song, everybody.
Night Rain.
Night Rain.
Well, everyone, that was Night Rain. Your thoughts first?
Well, absolutely blinking awesome, I would say. It was back in the day, back in '88, whenever I got this album on tape. It was my absolute favourite song back then, and it was the first song I ever knew all the words to, except I used to sing Night Train.
Well, that's obviously wrong now.
Realised, and I enjoy singing it more when I say, I'm on the Night Rain.
Yeah, because it's Night Rain. It is Night Rain.
Now,
it's the way it's spelled.
What do you think about it? And I'll tell you what the song's about.
Well, this is obviously one of the first time, the first time I've heard this song. And what I'll say so far with the album is, so the first song, Welcome to the Jungle, turn it up for me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, definitely. Great song and a fantastic start to an album. Yeah. Now, the second one, it was a little bit of a dip for me. And I'd keep it the same. I don't think it's a bad song. I don't think it's necessarily great because I've heard a lot of songs like it. And I know I get your point about they started that. Yeah. But to me, it's not really anything. It's just there. Yeah. But this song, I've got to say, I enjoyed that more because this is the guitar in it, the solos in it, the way it sounds. Well, it's a proper quality tune. This actually.
I believe that Night Rain. Was I think it was a wine what they used to drink.
Oh, right, okay.
And so really we should have said this all along. Welcome to the Jungle is when they first moved to LA, right? So it was Welcome to the Jungle. Now I've been to LA very recently. Yeah. And let me tell you, I'm sorry to our American viewers, but it is a dump. And believe me, describing it as a jungle is kind. Because I would not want to go back there. I'd rather go to
Welcome to the dumpster.
It really should, yeah. I can think of a few other words I'd call it, but obviously this is a family friendly
profanity, we don't want that, do we? Really?
No, we've already had some on this.
Oh, God, sorry about that. We can't really beat
it. But LA is a complete dump, and Welcome to the Jungle, it's about when they first moved there. I'm not sure what number 2 is about, Anything Goes, but probably, no, not Anything Goes, it's So Easy. Yeah. But probably, I don't know. But then this one, Night Rain, it was about a drink, and I'm sure it was a drink anyway. Or they used to drink on the night train, because they must have spelt it wrong.
Well, it's Night Rain.
It might have been a drink, and anyway, it was about I'm on the Night Rain, meaning I'm on
the wine.
The wine. I'm on the Stella. Yeah.
Yeah, the wine.
That's it. So there was supping.
At
this point.
Yeah. I will say about that. For me, if it was on in the car, I'd turn it up because I enjoyed it. Good solos. Yeah. Good pace to the song. Yeah. It was a proper song that you just think, this is quality. This you can imagine yourself like, oh God,
sorry about that.
Like in the car or something, windows down. Going for it.
I mean, back in my extreme sports days, we used to have ramps and that, and I remember being on the ramp to this, and there was the. Let's just say female fans used to stand by and clap and all this. Wow. And I was like, Cool. Anyway, shall we listen to the next one? It's called, and now this, again, interesting use of English, which is something I enjoy with this album. It's called Out, Tar, Get Me. So, out, T-A, then Get Me. Out, Tar, Get Me.
Well, this is it.
Oh, now turn the last one up.
Well, that was Out Tar, Get Me. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm undecided on that.
It's not my favourite. I've got to be honest.
I'm undecided.
It never has been. I mean, more profanity.
I was a bit disappointed by that, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, some of the lyrics we've just heard, it was pretty
It's a good job we skipped the middle of the song.
It's bloody disappointing to it.
And if you listen to it, I apologise on behalf of Guns N' Roses for the profanity. And there's no need for it because they're a good band.
And what is that about, really, with Guns N' Roses? We might as well be called Elbis and Elbis.
Well, maybe we will be when the cover
we could do. Well. I slipped something in there. I don't know. Well, we'll see.
We will see.
Anyway, with this song, I mean, let's just say, I think it's easy for bands to like sort of pick up patterns and like they've got like their own style of songs. And
Yes.
I think this song it could be 15 different songs. Do you know what I mean? It's real.
Yeah.
It's just real like similar to the other songs as well.
However, I once did see on YouTube like a live performance.
Well, we don't like to talk about brands, but
and it was, as Guns N' Roses would say, effing brilliant. Right, it was live. It was brilliant. But in terms of this album, for me,
they'd probably
it's
throw
filler.
a few more words in there, wouldn't they?
Yeah, probably would. Yeah, where's we and head.
Yeah.
But it was. I think it's a bit of filler, really. It's not my
favourite.
Yeah. I would leave it loud if I'd turned up the previous song, Night Rain, which I would have done.
What I'd say is,
let's
say like it was like turned up and that, and I was in the car and I couldn't be bothered to turn it down.
But then again, if you're in a urban area,
or if
there was children playing, you would have to turn it off.
It's true. And if I was on the radio, if like it was on the radio, and let's say the radio broke and I couldn't adjust the volume, I wouldn't be that bothered if it was turned up. However, as you say, if I was driving through a secluded urban area of housing, it would be hard to listen to that song.
And I think in a way,
because you've got to respect your surroundings.
I mean, this was the first album that I bought, like I say, I'm pretty sure it was. Now, my parents, let's say when I bought this, and I don't like to give away my age, but I was under the age of legal swearing, if there is one.
Well,
and my parents didn't seem that bothered that I was listening to it. Now that makes me think, did I have really cool parents or were they just irresponsible? I don't know. The first record I ever bought was the single Ebony and Ivory. And that's because I cared real deeply about equality at the time. Now, this is completely different to that.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a complete change from me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the next song is, well, brilliant. But we don't like to say that until it's been on.
I'm going to say, just to be conclusive on that song, I'll say I would keep it the same.
I would keep it the same.
But if it was turned up, I wouldn't be that bothered. That's my conclusive review of that song.
And if you was in a built-up urban area, you would have to turn it off.
If I was in a built-up urban area, in a secluded area with people, then I would turn it off.
Yes. Well, the next song...
Because of profanity.
...is one of my favourites, and I don't know whether you know it or not, but let's just...
Oh, well...
If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
It's called Mr. Brownstone.
Well, let's have a look at it. Well, that was Mr. Redstone and...
Mr. Redstone? Mr. Brownstone?
Oh, Mr. Brownstone. Mr. Brownstone. And it was alright in a way, I mean...
It was absolutely brilliant. That is one of my favourite songs of all time. I love it.
Well, it was alright. I mean...
You haven't led the kind of fast-paced lifestyle that I have.
Well, God, you were bloody karate when you was bloody 6 or whatever. God.
6?
Yeah, God. No one even does karate anymore.
No
one even does karate anymore.
Yeah, because they're not tough enough. We've discussed that.
Oh, yeah.
I was on about my extreme sports career
cool.
at the time. This is my extreme sports career. When I used to wake up and didn't know if I was going to make it to bed that night because of the daredevil risks I used to take.
Oh, yeah,
and to me, that was the soundtrack of those days.
I bet it was bunny hopping off a curb. That was the most risky
you no such thing as
ever took in your life.
There
you go. That shows how uncool it is.
Well, in any case, with regards to the song, yes, there is some profanity in it.
Well, yeah, there was in a way.
Profanity can be a tool, and if used well, it can be very effective.
Well, you've always said that.
It has been used well and effectively in that.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not that I'm averse to all profanity, it's just people overuse it. You know, Gordon Ramsay.
Well, there's no need for it, really. No. You know, and at the end of the day, listen, I'm not a big fan of profanity, but if it's there for a reason, I will accept it. And in this song, to me, it sounds like the style of song, the sort of story of the song. It should be there, I think.
Well,
it makes it a bit more real.
And you've probably already picked this up, you know, with all your drug knowledge.
Well, I don't know anything about it. I don't know.
But apparently Mr. Brownstone refers to heroin, or as some like to call it, smack.
Does it now?
Yeah, it does, yeah. He's been knocking, he won't leave me alone. It's like to do with heroin addiction. So if you think of it like that, actually, it's a really good song. Really good on every level.
The old devil's
So, I mean, I think without saying, I would not only turn it up, I would spend money to install a new radio and a sub in the back and all that to actually make it loud. And do you know what? If I was in a built-up suburban area and there was children playing, I still wouldn't turn it off. No. They can just deal with it. They can effing deal with it.
Well, that just shows the respect you have. I mean, for me, I think it's all right. And let's just say it's similar to the last one, really.
No,
where
it's not.
If the radio was like broke or something and it was up, I'd just go, oh well, all right then.
You're an idiot. You are an idiot.
What?
I don't know.
What's wrong with that? But to be honest, I'd just keep it the same. If my radio's working, I'll probably just keep it the
same. You're an absolute example.
Well, that's absolutely ridiculous then.
You are.
Oh God. Well.
Anyway, let's see if you like the next one.
Oh, all right then.
Paradise City.
Oh, sounds all right. Well, that was Paradise City. Great song.
It is a great song, yes. I admit it is a real fine standout song. Now, for me, it's got the slight common people effect.
Yeah, probably one of the most well-known of the songs on the album. And, you know, I knew it straight away.
Yeah,
so,
it is highly commercial.
Yeah, and I hadn't heard this album. I didn't even know it was on it.
Back in the day, like I used to say to people, oh, do you like Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Or GNR?
What's your favourite song? Welcome to the Jungle.
No, that'd be all right if they said that. Back in the day, if they used to say, oh, that Paradise City's a real good song, I used to probably smack them or something because I was still getting out.
Yeah, all right then.
But for me, I'd never respect someone who said that Paradise City.
I'm sure you gave them a real good karate chop or something.
I did. Don't you worry. Yeah, and then I'd volley off them when I knocked them out.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, it's like for me that. If somebody says they're a Guns N' Roses fan and that's the favourite song, I'm sorry, but you're not a Guns N' Roses fan. Bloody good song. I don't mind if someone says, oh yes, I like
Well, for me,
song.
That's the same as another song on this album that is coming up.
Yes.
I'm not sure where it is in the album, as I've never listened to the album, but I'm pretty sure it is coming up and I know it is on the album.
Yes.
And I'm not sure where. But yeah, there's a couple of songs, as you say, has sort of got the Disco 2000 effect where it has been overplayed so many times.
But even saying that, if that came on the radio,
I'd still
turn it up.
Because I don't think it's as overplayed as that.
Not
as
nowadays. Not nowadays. Perhaps in the 90s and that it was.
Like, you know, like Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, brilliant band.
Brilliant band. And I bloody love Power of Love. Bloody Power of Love is quality. And when that first came out, I'm sure they used to play that all the time.
They did.
And now, when it comes on, it's a treat.
Now that's got a skateboard theme to it.
Yes, it has.
But it's almost a different thing. We'll maybe review that one time.
I hope we do.
If there are any Huey Lewis and the News fans out there who would like us to review it, put a comment or send an email.
Leave a comment and dislike.
Yes, and dislike. Make sure you dislike. Now, so we've said both agreed, turn it up.
Yeah, turn it up.
Now the next song is one you probably haven't heard before. I used to quite enjoy it back in my impetuous youth because I enjoy the opening line.
Go on.
But we'll stick it on and see what you think.
Oh God. Anyway,
radio in charge.
Sorry. Yeah, that was my Michelle, or whatever she's called, or my Michaela. What's it called?
Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle. That was it. And yeah, well, I don't know. Sorry.
I think it's really good actually. It's not one of my favourites, but it's not filler like the other ones.
No, it was a really interesting opening line, and obviously due
Daddy
to
watches something now that you know is not around.
Well,
I could have said Mummy.
You could have done, yeah, really. Yeah. But let's just say, obviously, it's disappointing we couldn't share the first line with you, but due to copyright reasons, unfortunately, we can't.
Yes.
However, let's just say, rude yet cool in some ways.
In some ways, and rude can be cool.
It can be,
sometimes.
Yeah, it depends how rude it is, I'd say.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it can be at the point where it's too rude. But I'd say that's just right.
Yeah, I would.
That's
yeah.
just right.
Yeah,
It makes you think a bit. It wakes you up. You know, like if you're driving on a long motorway, and, you know, and you just
like,
and then
God,
that line comes on, it'll be like, oh God,
what's happening?
that's woke me up. So in a way, they're doing a service to drivers.
Yeah. I'd recommend listening to this song if you was about to fall asleep at the wheel.
Yes, so would I. It would wake you up.
It would wake you up in a way.
So in some ways, it's got to be a turn it up from me.
Well, in fact, yeah, I'd say turn it up actually. I thought it was all right, and you know, it's the same way. It's sort of a similar pattern, and it sounds quite similar to the other songs. But for the lines in it and that, it was good. So yeah,
I enjoyed it. Now the next song, it's called "Think About You," and I can't really remember what it goes like, so it's good for me.
Well, we'll have a listen and see.
Yeah. That's "Think About You," that one. Oh, we've done so well.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway, that was bloody "Dream About You" and
"Think About You."
Think About You, and well, it was alright.
It was alright. Yeah.
Listen, it's not the worst songs I've ever read, but to me, it was the same lyrics repeated over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it is in a way.
Yeah,
it is, and it's not like the other two that we said was filler. It's different to that. And it is a song that I do like, but it's not one that I'd really go my way from.
I've always said, if a singer doth not write different words, then he who write them words is not a master of styles.
Right.
And I've always said that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case here, to be honest. I think Guns N' Roses have a very specific style of songwriting and, oh God, that bloody chair. And music and that.
Yeah.
And
so what you're saying is this is clear
for one thing. This is clear. That
I disagree in a way,
but you're putting words in my mouth there. I've never said that.
I'll tell you
what I'm saying is this song again. It's just the same as Elbis.
Let me relate this to the Strangler.
And there's no changes of lyrics.
Let me relate this to the Strangler. Now, do you remember last week when I was saying it only had 9 songs?
Well, yeah, it did.
Now, I appreciated that.
Well, I did, yeah.
I think this album could only have maybe 10 songs. And it'd be you wouldn't miss a couple of songs.
Yeah, you could trim this down, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it could be trimmed down.
And it would be a better album because of the trim, I think.
So if I'm really honest, I'd stay the same with that one.
I'd stay the same.
I wouldn't.
In fact, I'd probably maybe turn it off.
No, I wouldn't turn it off. I don't find it offensive.
Actually, yeah. To me, turn it off. It depends what you think turn it off is, really. What we define turn it off as. It's that bad.
Yeah.
Right, well then I wouldn't turn it off then. I'd just stay the same. Because it's not bad. It's not bad. But it's not amazing.
I would stay the same. I agree on that one.
Yeah.
So the next one, most of you will have already heard, and I dare say you've heard this.
Well, I heard it bloody 2 minutes ago when you pressed play.
Oh, yeah. God. Sweet Child. Oh, no, hang on, though. It's Sweet Child, Oh Man.
Yeah, some people say Sweet Child of Man, but they'd be wrong. It's Sweet Child, Oh Man.
Of Man. No, Oh Man.
Sweet Child, Oh Man.
Yes. Right.
Sweet Child, Oh Man.
Yes.
And in many ways, the common people of this album.
Yes.
I'd say the stranger of the stranger, Billy Joel.
Well, I don't think the stranger was
actually. Yeah, probably sings from Italian restaurant.
Well, that was like
I'll get stuff there.
The common people's the only genuine.
Yeah, I mean it's
comparison.
Listen, if you haven't heard of it, you're an idiot, basically.
That's true.
And
I think
it's a good song.
I'm gonna, as I say, it's another one like Paradise City, where if I said to someone, "Do you love Guns?" If they said to me, "I love Guns N' Roses," and that's my favourite song, I'd probably say, "Well, you haven't really listened to them." However, looking at it for what it is, 1987 that come out, right? And I don't think there's anything that sounds like it before or since. Not really. It's a unique song that's got its own sound.
It stands up today, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
I would say. It really is genuinely one of the best songs of all time.
What I will say, this song shows the effectiveness of the guitar riff.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. Yeah. Slash, obviously.
Yeah, it really emphasises the effectiveness of the riff. I think definitely because, I mean, it starts
with
with
Paradise City as well. Though,
yeah, and there you go, and then obviously the two most popular songs on the album, arguably. So I think with Guns N' Roses, when they really nail a guitar riff, like when Slash nails a riff, they proper nail it, and that just propels the song. And this is the example here with Sweet Child O' Man.
Yes.
The riff just completely makes the song.
Absolutely
And there's one at the start and in the middle of it as well, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's tremendous. And I think this was probably the first album I bought. That was probably the first song I heard from this album.
Yeah.
I think I believe Paradise City was actually out first. But I think I heard this one first because I was busy in them days, you know what I mean?
Well,
you know what I was doing.
Good.
And so this was the first song, and I thought, oh yeah, that's all right. So I saved up my income, let's just say, or some people might call it pocket money,
or cash.
Yeah, and I used that to exchange with the record dealer for a tape. It was a tape. It was a tape that I had. In fact, I don't know whether my mate bought the tape and I copied it off him. Could have been one or the other. I don't know.
Well, I think with this song, if it came on, I'd turn it up.
Oh, without question. Even after all the times I've heard it, I probably heard this 56,000 times.
Yeah,
I'd still turn it up today.
Yeah, I would. I would. It's a good
and
song.
you know what? So would most people.
I think
not a lot of songs where they could play in a pub and everybody would go,
oh God, please. I can't see people going, oh God, it's good that Sweet Child of Man.
Some people might say I'm sick of it. But
I mean, if I'd said, "Oh, I'm sick of this," and I'd actually,
but you can be sick of a song that you like.
It's still good though.
I'm not sick of it. I like it
in a way, yeah.
So the next song, and it feels like a long album, this, because after reviewing The Strangler last week of only 9 songs, this does feel like a long album. But the next song is the third to last, which leaves us 2 afterwards.
Oh, good maths.
Yeah, and this is called "You're Crazy."
Am I? Well. No.
Oh
God! Hang on! Wait. Oh well, I mean, what was that again? What's going on here? What are you doing? Yeah, you're crazy.
I was going to play the last 5. Oh, that's the last bit of it.
All right. Well. Anyway, that was You're Crazy.
You're effing crazy. Whoa. Another song filled with profanity from start to finish. Well, in the middle.
Let's just say, if I was going to a secluded urban area full of children, that song would not be on my radio.
You'd have to turn it off.
I would.
And to me, it's not strong enough to keep on. Like Mr. Brownstone, for instance, I'd just keep that on. Screw them, I'd say. About time the kids heard some real language. But with that one, I don't like it that much to keep it on.
Yeah.
Good song.
Again, it's what we said yesterday was... What we said last song, I meant, with the Sweet Child O' Man. I was a bit off there. Sweet Child O' Man. That the genius of the song.
People don't think we've recorded this over like a few days and stitched together the best
stupid.
bits.
God.
Oh, God.
If you think we do that, God. Bloody hell, what, you're a fool.
Straight up.
Fool.
A cappella.
It really is. We just come in here, we click record, and we see what happens.
Yes,
the magic just happens.
Yes.
And anyway, with this Sweet Child O' Man, the beauty
of it... No, that's
not
not that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
crazy.
The beauty of that song was that it emphasises the guitar riff.
Well,
with this one, it just starts straight on with like everything's going on and that.
Well, it's kind of like a reverse song because often you'll have a song where it's like quite quiet and slow, and then the chorus gets real loud. Well, with this, it's like and then the chorus goes like "You're effing crazy." It slows right down. Yeah. So, as an experimental structure to the song, I quite admire it. You can't call it filler. It's not my favourite, but it's alright.
I'd say it's generic. I'm gonna be honest. I think
generic, my ass. Do you know generic? Why? It means run of the mill, and everybody's doing it.
Generic means
nobody was doing
generic
it.
Means what is generic?
They're the innovators.
What I mean by generic is it sounds like a lot of other stuff, and it does.
Yeah, other stuff that's copied it, so they made it up. Do you know what I mean?
Well, unfortunately, that's had an effect on the song.
Well, maybe so.
This is the first time I've heard this.
There aren't a lot of songs where the sort of verse is faster than the chorus. This is real fast all the way through the bass, and then it gets to the chorus and it like slows it down. You've got to find yourself another piece of the action.
Well, I mean, bloody hell.
Like that. It's a bit weird. I mean, well, it's different. It's not generic. You don't know what you're on about. It's not great.
Oh, right, well.
It's not great. I'd leave it the same.
I'd leave it the same.
It's just, I can't be doing with you slagging it off for all the wrong
I'm not
reasons.
slagging it off. I'm just saying.
For all the wrong
I'm just
reasons.
saying, to me,
You don't
it sounds
understand
like a million
composition,
other songs.
same as you don't
It
understand
sounds like a million other
scripts.
songs. I don't understand scripts. I'll tell you right now. I can
Well,
perform,
let's see what narrative you put to this
perform
then,
scripts
Mr. Script
and
writer.
write scripts.
Anyway,
So get stuff.
the next song is called Anything Goes.
All the scripts are made by me.
Get stuff.
So. Well, that was Anything Goes. Oh,
sorry.
Jesus. In a way, I think...
The ending was great.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, I
ending
did
was
enjoy the ending.
fantastic.
I enjoyed the ending.
And I love the beginning where it says, I've been thinking about sex. Because I remember when, back in the day when I was an impetuous young ex-MMA fighter into extreme sports, I used to think, yes, so have I.
Well,
it was a
I'd
good
say
introduction.
quite relatable in a way.
Yeah.
Very relatable song in that way. But, again, I just feel like we said it. Well, I said it. It just sounds like wrestling music to me. This it really does.
You do realise that somebody at the
However-
Wrestling Federation heard Guns N'
I know,
Roses
I
and
know.
thought that music is so good. We're going to base every wrestling theme tune
I know,
on what that
but
sounds like.
He's killed
They
it.
created the
It's killed
sound.
it. It has killed
They
it. I'm
created
not
the sound.
blaming Guns N'
Yeah,
Roses for it.
Don't slag
I'm not
off it.
blaming Guns N'
Yeah,
Roses for it. Because I think at the time this
They
was
were the
probably
innovators
unbelievable.
of it.
However, right now I just think some of the songs have probably suffered a bit by other people. And
Well,
that's true. However,
possibly.
with this song is I enjoyed the ending.
It was
right?
a good ending.
But
Changes pace. And they're good at changing pace, G and R.
well,
They are good at
well,
changing
yeah,
pace.
in a way. But to me, it sounds a bit like, and I think this is probably the case with all like rock and roll bands. in a
You
way.
should say wrestling music sounds a bit like this, not that sounds like
Well-
wrestling music. It's the other way.
Anyway, rock and roll bands and that. Like, you know, like your AC/DCs, your
Well, they all sound the same. Great bands.
Exactly,
They all sound the same.
exactly, and that's no exception here.
No, I think there is some.
Because
there is some nuances.
Listen,
nuances.
I think that like AC/DC, you got Highway to Hell, Back in Black, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, what's it called? The You Shook Me All Night Long,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
A lot of Rosie in that good song.
Now that is like this with Guns N' Roses. You've got Sweet Child O' Man, Paradise City, and bloody Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh,
now,
just stick with
hang on a
Billy
minute.
Bloody
Hang
Joel.
on a minute. Hang on a minute.
Constantly.
I'm not saying the other songs are crap.
Yeah,
What I'm
rock
saying
and
is
roll burning your
there's some
body.
other songs maybe that are like not as, you know, good as them, but they're all right. And that's the same with AC/DC. Like, I like some songs that aren't really well known, but I like them. And that's the same, but they're all very similar.
Well, they're
They're
not
all
that
very
similar.
similar. Well, they are.
They're not.
They are.
They're not similar.
Listen,
as
you
what
blamed
AC/DC
me last week. You said to me, you are
No,
too attached to
no,
this album.
I-
And this is the
I've
same
been
here. You are
objective
too
to
attached.
I've
You're
been
too attached.
objective.
You're too
But
attached.
I'll
You
tell
can't
you
give a
what,
proper review because you're too attached.
I'll tell you
Just
what,
like I
then.
was last week.
Let's
Even
see
though
you
your
slag
narrative
this
was
last song off.
bloody
Let's see you
shambles.
slag off this song. If you do it,
I'm not slagging off any song. I'm
Well,
just
let's see you
saying.
slag
I'm
this
giving
one
my
off.
opinion. This
let's
is
see
a
you
review.
slag off
I'm giving my
Rocket
opinion.
Queen. Now this is a song.
Rocket Queen.
Now, if you slag this
Yeah.
off, then to me,
Yeah. Wonder where they got that from. Bloody Rocket Man. Probably. Yeah.
you're stupid. What's this one that says Yowza? Robin Scott.
Well, that was Rocket Queen.
Oh,
Oh, you absolute. Oh.
bloody good song there, Mr.
Oh,
Brownstone, as we've established.
Well,
Hang on, no.
Just 10 for you.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, that was
Yes.
Rocket Queen. And to be fair, I enjoyed it. Enjoyable.
It may be my favourite song now. I don't know, either that or Mr. Brownstone. For me,
However,
it's
what I will
brilliant.
say is I've got a theory about this song.
Go on then.
Now, I noticed the words and it was like, oh, I'm a man, or something.
I don't remember that bit.
Oh, no, that wasn't it. But it was something to do with, like, it rhymed with man. But I can't remember what it was.
Well, don't matter.
Something like
What's
I
your
ran,
theory?
I
What's your
ran,
theory?
I'm
Get
a,
to your theory.
I ran, I'm a rocket queen. It's obvious that they've gone, I'm ran, I'm a rocket man. And they've gone, oh
Don't
no,
be
better
stupid.
not put
Honestly,
Rocket Man. because it's bloody Elton John. So
That
they've just changed
It's
it.
an epic
That's
song.
my theory. That's my theory.
Yeah, well,
I'm not saying it's true, but it's my theory.
That's
However, I will say it was pretty enjoyable.
It's two songs in one. It starts off being one thing. Here I am, I'm a rocket queen.
No, that's it. Yeah. Here I am. I'm a rocket man. That's my theory. That. And he's gone. Oh, good.
Could work.
Better not. Put Rocket Man because Elton John did it.
That's completely different.
That's my theory. That's my theory.
It's
but
certainly
let's just say
one of my favourites from that album. I think it's absolutely marvellous. If I had that on the radio, I would be so chuffed because they don't.
Would they even dare play it? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Well, I don't know.
Well, hang on a minute. I think there's a bit in that actually, and I missed it then.
I don't think it was any.
But I'm sure there's a bit in it where there is a woman who's, let's just say, rather excited, right?
Oh yeah.
Now the interesting thing was that was genuine, and Slash, the guitarist, was pleasuring this female admirer of theirs and added it to the record. I think it's that one, but I missed it for some reason. They might have removed it. But at one point, it had a woman or entity.
Attractive.
Yes.
Was she an attractive?
Well, we don't know, do we? I'm sure she was. If Slash,
Probably a good.
If Slash decided
well-dressed,
to entertain her in some way, then I'm sure that she was pleasant
in her approach to her appearance on the...
Now, I don't know if Guns N' Roses considered the personality as much as probably what me and you do.
Well, I don't know.
I'm sure that she was a well-rounded female admiring entity.
Yeah, I'd say
I would say.
Yeah, I would. And I think with this song, though, I think I enjoyed it because it's two songs in one, really, isn't it?
Well, I just said
two
that a while ago. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
but, and it's sort of... It reminded me a bit like Scenes of Italian Restaurant, that sort of format where
in a way,
it just sort of it's different in one bit to another, completely different, but put together. It makes
as I said about
that's the same with bloody Rocket Man.
Almost Meatloaf-ish, but
Rocket Queen.
Possible way where you get two songs in one. Now, this is a 12-track album, and to be fair, it's a long 12 tracks, and some of the songs are multiple songs within themselves. Yeah. So it's good value. If you see it for a tenner and you price it up per song, as some people do,
I'd just say,
some people do, it's going to be a good buy. If what you're after is sheer
what I'd say is, if it's on offer, get it. If it's full price,
I'd pay full price for it.
Maybe wait.
I think it's brilliant.
I don't know.
This album can change
your life.
In fact,
just go on Spotify.
It can. Well, yeah.
Just do that.
It can change your life. This album, in the with me.
Depends what age you are when you listen to it.
Well, I'd already established a couple of careers before I listened to it, but it developed my rock and roll outlook towards life, and I've kept that ever since. I have, and I would say that this album shaped me.
Oh, yeah.
And if it wasn't for this album, perhaps you wouldn't be listening to such a quality Elbis and Elbis world-class podcast right now. Because if you had to listen to this Glad on his own...
Oh, yeah. Listen, pal, I'm as rock and roll as anyone.
Anyway, let's see about that, because you was going to write a narrative.
And I'll tell you one story. I rock and rolled so hard once, I nearly passed out. And I got carried into a shop.
Yeah, by me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... Yeah, the narrative, anyway, because we always do a narrative. That's one thing on the Elbis and Elbis album review show, is that we always come up with a narrative at the end of albums. Sometimes it's easy
but it's how to improve.
Sometimes it's easy to, and sometimes it's hard. And I think this is difficult, this one, because it's a bit of a wild.
It's difficult for you.
Bit of what? Well, it isn't, because I think I've got one.
Oh, have you now? Go on,
I have.
Go on then. Let's have a listen.
Well, what I'd do is, first of all,
Are you looking at my notes?
No, I'm just looking at the order of the songs.
Right.
This isn't the actual order, but I just need to remind
myself. That's my notes.
But I need to remind myself. I need to remind myself of the name of the songs. If that's all right with you, thanks.
Yeah, go on then.
Good. Anyway, what I'd do is I'd get Welcome to the Jungle and that. Yeah. So that's all right where it is. I'd start that.
Right. And what does it mean?
To an album. It's just honestly, and this is honest. When we put it on, and I thought about a narrative before. This is obviously someone who moved to a city or something, and he's from a small town, goes to a big city. Okay. It's welcome to the jungle.
Well, so I'll play
someone who gets the big break.
Is this going to be the official narrative of the album?
Like someone who gets a big break and they move to a city, it's welcome to the jungle. And then you said about that is when Guns N' Roses moved to LA.
If you forgot what that's like, then this is moving to that city.
Yeah, so he's moving to the city.
And it's going to be LA.
Yeah.
And that's what it's actually
I'm even
about.
thinking like someone who maybe like a singer or something, right? And he's like, you know, like doing a bit of like singing and that, but he's not really doing it. And then one day just makes like real successful in that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, welcome to the jungle, bang, he's in.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'd actually probably get rid of a lot of the songs on this.
Get rid of them?
And I'd exchange them.
Oh, you can't go doing that.
You can do anything, mate.
Go on then.
So I'd probably keep Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City,
commercial. Surprise,
Welcome to the Jungle, Rocket Queen, and that's about it.
Right.
And then I'd just replace them all with like Back in Black, like Highway to Hell, and all the commercial ones.
Listen,
because that's the ones people want to hear.
I have a narrative. I can make a narrative.
So I'd just get rid of them all them, and I'd just bring in like Highway to Hell and that.
Listen.
And then you can just make a narrative off of that. And it'll be easy. It'll be easy.
Let me take over.
Because I think that's the thing.
People
want to hear. People want to hear. Welcome to the jungle.
Form a cohesive
Nobody wants to listen to bloody
He's good at words.
Mr. Gemstone.
Good at dialogue.
No one wants to listen to Mr. Gemstone.
Just admit you're a character man. I'm the script man.
Character man.
You are a character.
Get stuff. I'm a bloody everything man.
You bring.
I'm a styling, profiling, character making, script writing.
Whatever. Yeah.
Genius.
Now, if you do want a narrative to this, we'd start with Welcome to the Jungle. Hang on, I was just doing that.
So you can't even bloody speak.
Right, so it starts with that, right? Well, so this is clearly. You was right.
It's a bloody amateur.
That's why I thought. That's why
not understand that.
Right. So he's gone to LA, which is a dumb.
Oh well,
it is a dumb.
And where did you get that idea from? The actual meaning of the song.
Yeah.
Well done, you. Wow.
All right. Well, and when he gets to LA, he's bloody loving it, and he's loving it because in LA, anything goes. Right. So that's number 11. So. My way, your way, anything goes. So he's loving it. He's having like a real good time and that.
So what's he doing now?
Well, he's out boozing a lot.
Oh yeah.
Let's just say there is some easy.
Well, some
people who he's attracted to are
of the opposite gender,
allowing him to perform
acts in which he will pleasure
deviancy
himself
on
and
their
them
person.
too.
And because of that, then the next one is number 2. It's so easy. That makes sense, doesn't it? It's so easy.
It's so easy for what? Oh, because he's getting all these women and that, maybe women. I don't know. It depends what he likes.
Now,
whatever lights your candle at the end
after that, whilst he's doing this, and anything goes, and it's so easy and all that. Well, we need to talk about his drink of choice, and his drink of choice would be
Night Rain.
He would be drinking Night Rain.
But there's no interest. I mean, so far you just said there's this bloke going around town and his favourite drink's Night Rain. That's not really a story, is it?
4 songs in. And then he meets...
4 songs, that's quite a lot to me.
He finds himself a female, right? And now he really likes her.
Michaela.
He likes her. No, Michelle.
Right.
He likes her, but let's just say she's not a woman who one would take to introduce to your mother.
She's a bit of a, let's say, outcast.
She is a lady who has perhaps enjoyed the company of many men. Let's say that.
Okay.
Let's say that.
Okay.
She's a groupie, in other words.
Oh.
She's hanging around and all that, right? And she's also a really bad influence because he's gone from the Night Rain and he's starting on something a little bit harder.
But who is this kid? Who is he?
Doesn't matter.
Well, it does in a way.
He started on this.
The brown thing.
So he's what some people might
Drugs
describe as a smack head now, right? And because he's on that, this bloody Michelle, who he's hanging about with, she started to get on his nerves a little bit because she is a bit crazy, man. She's a bit crazy. And then out of there, he's getting a bit like paranoid. And he's getting paranoid because the drugs are just taking over. Out to get me. Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, bloody hell.
They're out to get him anyway. So he's like going completely crazy by this point. Everybody's out to get him and all this.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts thinking, you know, like about where he came from. He was from a real boring town, and I didn't tell you this bit. Real boring town, and he was like, oh, it's full of squares here. You know, sick of it, and just such a dull pace. And there was a girl who lived there. And she was attractive. She was attractive, but she was dull. You know, like went to church and all this lot. Not that I'm saying that's dull.
Hang on a minute.
Not that I'm slagging church.
Hang on a minute.
I'm just saying that his
someone
pace,
doesn't like church.
No, I don't mind church at all.
Well, that's
but what I'm saying is that he didn't like it because it wasn't the suitable pace. But he starts.
Let's just say this girl was a contributor to society in the way that she did what is expected of her.
Yes, and she did not allow multiple gentlemen to enjoy
pleasure her in some fashion or other.
She had restraint, this girl. And he thought that was boring at first, but now he started to
think about her.
Yeah.
So would you change the name of the song?
Yeah. Because in the video, it's like a picture of her, and he's there, and he's with this Michelle, who is a woman of, well, less than respectable repute.
She has the morals of...
And he's like laid there, and he's had like a right night, and he's got a needle in his arm or something, and he's like thinking, and he's thinking about this lovely girl who he left behind. And then he's not only thinking about her, he's thinking about... Oh, won't you please take me home? He wants to go home. He's sick of it in LA, the dump. And he's sick of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so he goes home, and I don't really know how this one fits, but it seems it's a good song, so let's just...
This is what I mean. This is what I mean. You'll just shove that in there.
In a way, but you can't get rid of it.
Amateur.
It's amateur. No, but she's got eyes of the bluest skies, and if they went away... And so he's still thinking about this girl. And anyway, he gets back, asks her out on that, and she's like, oh yeah, will do, yeah, you look a bit rough, but I'll take you under my wing and I'm gonna really sort you out. And then after a while, she's his rocket queen. That works. That does work.
Bit crap though.
It's not a great film, is it?
No, happened really, did it?
Yeah, it did. He moved to LA.
Ah, well,
he
don't know anything about it,
which is dumb.
He just moved to LA and then went on drugs and then came back. That's the story.
Yeah, and he met this girl, Michelle, who was...
Well, really, there's no meaning behind it. It's a porn.
Of course there's a meaning. I've seen films made about things like that.
And did they do very well?
He thought that LA was going to be great and he'd be a big star and he'd be happy.
Oh, yeah.
And he was from this little place, which was boring, but brilliant and lovely and all that, you know. And the girls were pretty. The grass was green, you know. It was a paradise city. But he wanted more, and he went to LA.
No, you said Paradise City was home. Oh, yeah, that's what you said.
Exactly. And then he moved to LA to go get more. He went there, and anything goes, and he's like, oh, yeah, this is great, and all this. It's so easy. He was getting loads of these entities and all this business. Yeah. He got on the night rain, and that wasn't too bad, you know. He was enjoying that. But then he met this Michelle. Then he got on the Mr. Brownstone. Then she was crazy, absolutely crazy. And he thought everyone was out to get him. And then he started thinking about her and thinking about the Paradise City and then Sweet Child of Man and that. and then he ended up in his rocket queen. Well, it's a better narrative than you put together.
Well, it isn't actually.
That
because, to be honest...
So, the order of the songs are 1, 11, 2, 3, 7, 5, 10, 4, 8, 6, 9 and 12.
And just say it one more time just in case people didn't get it.
1, 11, 2, 3, 7, 5, 10, 4, 8, 6, 9, and 12. Listen to it in that order and think about it.
Well, I'd say you can listen to it in that order if you want, but I won't bother because it's not that good of a narrative. And, well, it was alright, that album.
I'll admit that. Just listen to it in the order it is.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a good album in a way. There's some highlights of it, definitely, you know, like Sweet Child O' Man and that. But there's a lot of songs there which are pretty similar, and it's obvious Guns N' Roses have got a certain style that they just stick to in every single song.
No, that's wrong.
Except from the ones where, you know, Sweet Child of Man and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's a lot
and
of
that's the success. Yeah, but that's where they get the success. What I'm saying is there's songs where they change style and they're popular.
Anyway, it's
songs that no one really knows.
Let's just say I love the album. I love it. It's shit.
You're not too attached. I think it's alright.
I would not be as rock and roll as I am without this album.
I think it's alright.
And you maybe need
There's some good songs. I think it's alright.
More rock and roll.
I think it's alright. Not possible.
We better close this out now, I think. Have we got anything to address? I don't think we have we really? I mean, you've been sending in your requests and that. We'll get to them possibly.
Well, let's just say you better be bloody happy with this because you requested it and that.
Yeah,
and
you know
you've
you
done
are.
it and that.
Yeah.
So, make sure you enjoy it and stuff. And that's it, really, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But anyway, it's an alright album. What's it called? Appetite for Destruction.
Oh, and don't worry, season 3's coming.
Well, season 3. How many seasons do you think
yeah,
done, you idiot? Season 2 is coming.
Yeah, season 2 is coming. The thing is, you've already been bagging some Dream or Visions.
Yes, I have. I've been starting to note my Dream or Visions down. As you all know, Dream or Vision is probably one of our most popular segments on the podcast.
And there are people
the process of it, people
say,
oh God, we just make these things up.
Yeah.
There's a long process in which we go and have dreams or visions and then note them down and talk about what we saw and trying to get a meaning out of it. It's a very hard process, so we're in the middle of that right now, but it is coming soon.
And I have been still having visions, but they've been a bit controversial, so they're not really anything I can bring to the point.
What I will say is the final thing is obviously Christmas coming up and that, and just have a good Christmas and that. If
there might be some Christmas merch coming.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Yes.
Make sure you stick on standby for this Christmas merch. It's
and
do you know what?
Even if it's not Christmas merch, just still buy the merch.
Just still buy it. Just buy it.
You can't.
In fact, go and get something now.
Christmas is good because you could get someone a nice Elvis and Elvis Christmas jumper. But do you know what? If we don't get around to making them, then you can get them something else and they can wear it all year round.
Well, we might leave the link in the description for the store if we can be bothered. If we can't, just go to the Twitter and it's in the bio thing. So just go on that. But Appetite for Destruction, I would give it, I'd say 6 out of 10.
Get stuffed. We don't even do this usually.
I know, I just thought
if I had to put albums in order of the ones we've reviewed so far, I would put different
The Stranger,
class top.
Pulp, and this.
Are you kidding? I'd put different class top, this second, The Strangler third.
Get stuffed. Well, we was Elbis and Elbis. You've been world class.
2020 was a shame.
I really need to get this bloody premium thing. Well, this is what I mean, by the way. This bloody YouTube premium. We are content creators. We should be getting this for free. But no, they make you pay for it. I refuse to pay for it. And this is why we get ads.
Well, I've got premium.
The Elbis and Elbis album review show.